a combination around here. So you wouldn't risk a jury. I didn't say that. Allow me to consider this for a spell, okay? My valuable advice, though still free to you, often needs proper reflection. Fair enough. I might stop by this afternoon. I'm looking for an old book that might be in the attic. You own the place, Jake said, shoving away his plate. And you're late with the rent. Sue me. I'd love to, but you're broke. You're living in a rental house, and your car has almost as many miles as mine. I guess I should have gone into the furniture business. Anything but the law. I like this taste, Jake. I might want to work on it. Sure, Lucian, Jake managed to say without hesitation. Stop by late this afternoon and we'll chat. He stood and dropped his napkin on the table. No coffee? No, I need to run. Thanks for lunch, and pass along my regards to Sally. Chapter 11. A nosy paralegal sniffing through old land records down the hall heard the gossip as it drifted over from a water cooler and went to make copies of the latest will to be filed for probate in Ford County. Back at the office, he showed it to his bosses, made even more copies, and began faxing here and there. His bosses faxed it too, and by noon Wednesday, copies of Seth's 2-page will were popping up all over the county. The perish in pain wish was a favorite touch, but speculation about the deceased's net worth soon dominated the discussion. As soon as Herschel left his father's home, he called his lawyer in Memphis to pass along the wonderful news that he would soon be inheriting several $1 million. Of particular concern was his ex-wife. He was still bleeding from the divorce, and he was curious if she could make a claim. No, she could not, his lawyer assured him. The lawyer called a lawyer friend down in Tupelo for no reason other than to spread rumors, and in doing so, managed to include the bit about Seth Hubbard having a net worth in excess of $20 million. The lawyer in Tupelo called some friends. The size of the estate began to grow. As soon as Ian Defoe got on the Natchez Trace Parkway and headed south, he set his cruise control on 50 and settled in for the pleasant drive. Traffic was light, the sun was up, the leaves were beginning to change, and some were dropping in the breeze. Though his wife, as always, was complicating his life, he had reason to smile. He had managed to diffuse the divorce talk, at least for the moment. She was hungover and she had just buried her father, and her nerves were shot anyway. And even on a good day, Ramona dealt poorly with adversity. He could pacify her, bring her around, kiss her ass enough to gloss over the problems, and set about the task of managing their new wealth. Together. He was certain he could handle this. She was lying across the rear seat, on her back with a forearm over her eyes, trying to sleep it off. She had stopped talking, and her breathing was heavy. He turned around often to make sure she was out of it. Then he carefully reached for his new car phone and called the office.